Hello and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. Hi, I'm Kerry and I'm a Disney adult, and today we are on to part 2 of the Disney films, the 1990s tier list, or as I got to ranking them, but you know, you can see it's a tier list. The last video we reviewed, if you haven't watched it, but please do, we reviewed The Rescuers Down Under, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin and The Lion King, and as you can see from the screen at the moment, Rescuers Down Under I concluded is a film that should not have been made. And the other films were films that most definitely should have been made, are absolutely amazing. So Rescuers Down Under went into the E tier, and the Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin and The Lion King went into, I don't know why I'm looking at the camera, because all you can hear is my voice. Yes, so Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin and The Lion King went into the S tier because they're amazing. In part 2 of this video today, I am going to be putting Pocahontas, Toy Story, Hunchback of Notre Dame and Hercules into the tier list. And then the next video will be coming out on Monday, and that will be reviewing finally the last 4 of the 90s, Mulan, Bug's Life, Tarzan and Toy Story 2. So without further ado, let's get into this. So let's just dive straight in. I'm going to be completely and utterly honest with you here. Up until about halfway through the 90s, I think, yeah, we got as far as we watched Toy Story, me and Ben. That's as far as we got. And so every other film that I reviewed in this tier list, I have seen in the last 5 years. Sometimes more than once because I love them. But these ones here, so Pocahontas and Toy Story falls into that category. Hunchback of Notre Dame and Hercules, I will admit, and to be fair, Bug's Life as well, I have not seen in about 25 years. So basically, I've had a little cheats guide on it. I have gone onto IMDb, read through the synopses of the film, read through the trivia of the film, some quotes, that sort of thing, to get a general recap for myself on what the films are like. I'm sorry, I've got to watch through a load of films from the 2000s because the 2000s were my late teens and early 20s. Late teens, I was busy going out, getting drunk. Early 20s, I became a mum at 21, so I spent a lot of my time, obviously, either working or looking after my daughter. So I had a big gap in my watching of the new Disney films when they came out in those eras. Almost same with the 90s as well. I don't know what it was. I mean, I have seen Hunchback of Notre Dame and Hercules, but they weren't ones that I wanted to necessarily watch again, but I'm going to try and be fair on them in this because I know they are quite beloved Disney films, so we'll just go with it. As for the 2000s films, as I think I mentioned in the previous video, I watched The Emperor's New Groove, I watched Atlantis the Lost Empire, and the other ones in between then I'd seen, and I'm halfway through Treasure Planet, which the fact I'm halfway through kind of tells you everything you need to know about Treasure Planet so far. Like, it's fine, but it's not really, I'm not desperate to watch it. I find I'm distracted on my phone and finding out who does the voices. By the way, I think the dude's name's Corey Burton. He did so many voices of Disney characters in the 90s and the 2000s, I think even up to the modern day. Just generally, the dude has done like over 6,000, that's a lot, 600, that is also a lot, over 600 films doing voices. And it's not just one voice, he does several voices in the films. And man, it's when you go through on IMDb and the same faces keep coming up, on the, you know, the same names and faces keep coming up and you're like, oh, okay. Anyway, so again, January. Oh, let's change the lighting. 2 seconds. As you can see, it's quite light anyway because, and I have a very exciting announcement to make. It's sunny. It is sunny in the southwest of England in January. And you know what really sucks? It's sunny and I'm going on holiday tomorrow to Tenerife for 4 nights. So it may be sunny here when it's sunny in Tenerife, which, you know, Tenerife's still going to be better than here, but there's the light. But yeah, it's now decided to brighten up here. So I've blabbered enough. On to Pocahontas. Pocahontas obviously gets a lot of criticism because of the way it whitewashes history. Ben's just going to walk by behind, I think, possibly. You may have seen his hand. That was all you'd seen because I'm in a circle. Oh, by the way, if it's covering up, look, I am wearing something just in case you're thinking, oh, Kerry's doing this topless. I'm not. It's a vest top. Pocahontas, yeah. Obviously, it whitewashes history a lot. I mean, I'm not really sure why Disney decided that this was a good story to do, because obviously it is full of controversy. Because let's be real, they went over to America and met the natives, and we know what happened. We know how the natives were treated, and there is no way that John Smith would have gone over, seen Pocahontas, fallen in love with her, protected her, looked after her. He wouldn't have done that. Noise in the background again is Ben. Want to say hi?
Hello.
I was trying to sound very deep and masculine there.
Thanks.
Hello. Yeah, that's not what John Smith would have done when he saw her. Let's not go into that, but yeah, it wouldn't have been nice for Pocahontas, any of it. Obviously, the way that the British treated the Native Americans was not good, and it's very sugar-coated in the film. The thing I also don't get about Pocahontas is, as much as, and they do this in a few films, it was the same in Atlantis: The Lost Empire with Kida, who, by the way, might be one of my favourite female characters, and I don't even know why, I just loved her. The dialect. There's the whole thing of, you know, he says hello to her and she says something back in, I'm really sorry if this is ignorant, but whatever Native American dialect that she spoke, I don't know what it is. And then there's...
sucks.
Yeah, basically. But I don't hate it as much as Ben does, so... there's a whole thing of he speaks to her, and then you get the whole Grandmother Willow voice going, listen with your heart, you will understand. And then magically she seems to be able to understand him. Now, I admit that is obviously a convenient plot point so that they can actually communicate, but it's still stupid. So they're the kind of the big negatives, and they're quite substantial negatives in the film. But I'm sorry, I don't know why this, every time I go on camera, my nose starts running. I'm so sorry. I don't know, maybe it's a nervous thing. I don't feel nervous. I'm just sat in my dining room filming this video. Hopefully we'll get another room in the house sorted soon so we can actually set up a proper studio. Be helpful when me and Ben start recording the podcast. But so the positives of Pocahontas. I think it has a really good soundtrack. It has a good score to it. It's not quite the level of The Lion King or Beauty and the Beast, but it has a generally good score. Colours of the Wind is a beautiful song. As a singer, it's one I do enjoy singing, generally just around the house, annoying Ben and my son. Just Around the River Bend is another good song. I'm trying to think of other ones. Yeah, they're the two kind of main ones. There are other songs, but they're not quite as strong. So those two particular, I said especially Colours of the Wind, is an iconic and memorable song. I believe, I was thinking about this, because you know how I said when you go into Disneyland Paris, they have the music at the beginning of the Little Mermaid and the music at the end of Beauty and the Beast. And I was trying to think what the other one is, and I know it's from Pocahontas. I think they actually do both. I think they have a musical version of Colours of the Wind and Just Around the River Bend. So yeah, Colours of the Wind in particular is one that again hits me in the heart. I love it. It's beautiful. I do love the sidekicks, Miko and Flip. They are great little sidekicks. And then I do like, I've completely forgotten the name of the little pug dog. I can't remember his name. Somebody put it in the comments underneath because I can't remember, although I might put it up on the screen when I'm editing this. But yeah, he's a great little character. Obviously, Ratcliffe is utterly deplorable as a human, but I think, you know, when I say we, obviously I didn't personally do this, but when the British went over to America, their actions were utterly deplorable. I think majority of people can agree with that in general. But yeah, the sequel to this wasn't very good, but generally it's not awful. I do enjoy it. Obviously it's not going in at the S tier. I don't think I can put it in the A tier purely because I put Sleeping Beauty in at the A tier, which to be honest I do regret now. I do wish I put Sleeping Beauty in at the S tier. So I think it's going to go in at the B tier because it's got enough redeeming qualities to not put it in at C or D, definitely not E. But there we go. Toy Story, the first of the Pixar films, the Disney Pixar films I should say. This film is iconic. It is amazing. I love it. Everything about it is great. It's also, got some sort of scary, creepy bits with those toys that Sid has obviously stolen from his sister, or, his own toys or whatever, and, sort of put one on top of the other, like the baby's head on the spider's body and stuff like that. That's creepy as hell. That point where Woody is on the floor and suddenly under the bed they all come out. As much as we know they're fine, they're just toys that have been taken apart and put onto other bodies, and they're perfectly fine. But the fact the majority of them, I don't think any of them actually speak, I find really weird. Like, why have they not got voices like Woody and all the other ones in Andy's bedroom do? Is a bit questionable. But yeah, that's creepy as hell. Particularly the doll's head with the spider body is, for me, I was like, oh, the doll's head just reminds me of that bit in Trainspotting, but again, that's a film I've only seen once and will never watch again, and definitely not a Disney film. And if you're one that doesn't like dark themes, don't watch that one. Baby's head, that's all I can say. Just the baby bit on the ceiling. Nah. Don't get me wrong, it's not a baby head on the ceiling, it's just a drug trip that's thoroughly unpleasant. Or a drug come down or something. Anyway, I digress. Toy Story. From Trainspotting to Toy Story. This film, I think, cemented Pixar in the duo with Disney for films moving forward. And obviously we've had some absolutely amazing, amazing Disney Pixar films from this point onwards. I mean, Monsters, Inc., Finding Nemo. I feel there's a really recent one that I can't think of. I know there's a really recent Disney Pixar that is just going out of my head altogether. But yeah, the Disney Pixar films are brilliant, but Toy Story obviously started it all. And it's just great. The development of all the characters is great. Obviously Woody is jealous of Buzz first time turning out. Buzz doesn't realise he's a toy, and therefore thinks he's superior to all the other toys to begin with. But they do take him in. They do look after him and love him, and they end up, all very happy together. I don't know what else to say about Toy Story other than it's brilliant. It's funny. I remember when Ben was watching it with me, the bit where, oh God, what's Sid's little sister called? Well, Sid's little sister has got the tea party and she's having Buzz as one of the people at the tea party, and Buzz isn't being called Mrs. Nesbit. Mrs. Nesbit, sorry. And he just tends to have just given up by that point, and Woody comes to him and he almost seems like he's drunk and goes, I am Mrs. Nesbit. Yeah, Ben did find really funny. So, just going to leave it at that, really. Toy Story, where are we going to put it? Obviously in the S tier. How could you not put Toy Story in the S tier? It's truly brilliant. So, on to Hunchback of Notre Dame. As I said, the first of the two films here that I've only seen once, and it was a long time ago. I did enjoy the film. It has some very dark themes, which is something that was very much criticised. That and Pocahontas had really, really dark themes. And so it came to Hercules, when I was looking this up yesterday, they had to make the theme of Hercules a lot more pleasant and enjoyable, and a lot brighter and more colourful. Obviously, the story of Hunchback of Notre Dame was originally written by Victor Hugo. Actually, was Victor Hugo this time, and not what's her name? Gabrielle de Villeneuve for Beauty and the Beast. Oops. Yeah, Victor Hugo, obviously about a baby that's born with a disfigurement. I think I looked into it, and in the original story, Quasimodo's mother actually goes and swaps the baby, Quasimodo, with Esmeralda in the, with a group of gypsies. I think she was a gypsy too, Quasimodo's mum, so switches the baby, steals Esmeralda. Or she must have been a gypsy, because obviously Esmeralda is raised as a gypsy. And it's only when Esmeralda's family, so her parents obviously find that Esmeralda has been replaced with this deformed baby, that they give him to the church. And in the book, Claude Frollo is a priest, but apparently they didn't want to make him a priest in the film because he is so utterly evil and horrible and so unpious, I suppose would be the right word for that. And so therefore they made him to be a judge instead. I was going through, obviously, the villains in the previous films and who I think is the worst villain in the films. And I completely forgot Claude Frollo. He epitomises every single thing that is bad or about the church in those times, arguably some churches now, in self-righteous, for pride. It was discussed in the trivia of this on IMDb that at some point in the film, Claude Frollo encompasses every one of the 7 deadly sins. Pride in himself because he thinks he's better than everybody else. Avarice is just a pure greed, and the fact his greed and his wanting to own Esmeralda. Lust in the fact that, you know, he really wants Esmeralda. Was a sloth in the fact that he blames everybody else for his own things. He's not willing to take his own, he'd blame himself for things. It's everyone else's fault. Envy at the fact that he's envious of anyone who gets Esmeralda's attention other than him. Wrath, just his general rage in general, and the fact that, you know, when he can't have Esmeralda, he wants to send her to hell. What are the other ones? Gluttony. There was, I can't remember what the one for gluttony was. I looked into it, but gluttony could also be known as something else, and it was the something else. What am I forgetting? Pride, envy, avarice, lust, gluttony, sloth, and wrath. I've done all of them, I think. Yeah, so he basically encompasses I haven't got hair extensions, but I keep acting like I do. I dried my hair straight yesterday, and now I keep doing this like I'm an annoying person with hair extensions that have just been put in. Sorry about that. Yes, Claude Frollo is possibly the most evil of all the Disney villains. And he is the first that has actually been shown as actually wanting Esmeralda's body, like actually wanting that from Esmeralda, because she's obviously this beautiful gypsy, free gypsy woman, and that obviously stirs his ardor, we should say, and how terribly he treats Quasimodo. And bear in mind that Quasimodo obviously trusts him, and he's supposed to be his carer. He doesn't look after Quasimodo, and his death at the end is a beautiful death for a villain. The fact that he falls from a building directly into fire, symbolizing that he is falling into the hell that he basically has put himself in by being so unbelievably evil, despite the fact he's supposed to be this obviously pious man of the cloth. And obviously in this film he isn't supposed to be of the cloth, he's supposed to be a judge, but he still acts like he's holier than thou. The fact that he at the beginning kills Quasimodo's mum is truly, truly evil. We pretty much don't ever see someone actually get killed in a Disney film, and we do see it in this one with Quasimodo's mum. So that is horrific for him to kill his mum. I'm gonna have to watch the film again now because it sounds like really interesting. So and I think as a 14-year-old, I think I was when I watched it, I didn't understand the themes of it, and now I will a lot more. So that'll be interesting. And once I've got through the films, basically once I've got to the point of watching through every single Disney animated cinematic release film up to the present day, I'll go back through and I'll watch things like the Hunchback of Notre and Hercules. Generally, I think by the fact that I had no interest in watching the film again, I have to be realistic on this with my reviews, as much as it seems really, really good. And in the future, when I've watched it, I may sort of come on video and say, I'm changing it, I'm moving it here. The fact that I wanted to continue to watch Pocahontas and have done so many times, and I put it in a B, means that I can't put Hunchback of Notre Dame in at B. And Hunchback of Notre Dame will need to go in at C. Because by the sounds of things, it's not awful, but it's just not one that I wanted to go back and watch. So, from that. Anyway, on to Hercules, the last one from this video. I hope I'm not blabbering too much. You know I am. This is me. Hercules, obviously based on the Greek myths. However, Hercules was not the name of the character in Greek mythology. It was in fact Heracles, and Hercules, see, I told you, I read all the trivia. Hercules was the name of the character in Roman mythology, because obviously with Greek and Roman, they cross over the gods. They have pretty much the same gods and goddesses and characters. They just change the names depending on the way I always remember it for the gods and things like that is which one's which is, despite the fact that I always feel like the planet should be Greek because of the whole Greeks and astronomy, and probably astrology, astronomy, I was just thinking they were the planets, but no, it is the opposite way around. The Romans are the ones that have the planets as the gods and the stars and stuff like that. So, for example, the god of gods is Jupiter in Roman mythology and is Zeus in Greek mythology. The goddess of love is Venus in Roman mythology and Aphrodite in Greek mythology. I'm trying to think of the other ones. Neptune is the god of the sea in Roman. Poseidon is the god of the sea in Greek. You get the gist. I'm trying to think of the one the underworld is in Roman. Anyway, so basic story of Hercules. He was born to Zeus and Hera. In the actual Greek mythology, he was not born to Hera. He was born to a human woman that Zeus tricked by basically making himself look like her husband. And honestly, that's Zeus. He was a bad guy in the way he tricked so many women into sleeping with him, or just full on didn't even trick them, just did it against their will. This is why this is not suitable. I say, is this video made for children? No, it is not. Yeah, so Zeus and Hera, in the original book, it's not Hera, it's Alamene, I think her name is. It's whoever is the human woman that adopts him in Hercules was actually his biological mother in Greek mythology. So bear that in mind. And Hera actually hated Hercules. She was not his mum because she was jealous of the fact that Zeus had obviously was having babies with other women, even though he was her brother. Greek mythology's messed up. If you want a backstory, if you want to know a bit more about sort of Zeus and Hera and all that sort of thing, watch Chaos, K-A-O-S. I think I've said it in previous videos on Netflix. You will only get the first series because it was cancelled after the first series, but the first series is still pretty good. And Jeff Goldblum plays Zeus, and he's brilliant in everything. So yeah, watch that. That gives you a bit of a understanding of Zeus and his behaviours and why, and the fact that Hera was jealous of him and jealous of what he does and stuff like that. So yeah. So in this film, anyway, Hercules was the son of Zeus and Hera, and Hades I don't think Hades is actually supposed to be his brother, but whatever. He's the god of the underworld. In this, he's made to be the bad guy, whereas in reality, not that mythology is necessarily reality, but in the actual Greek mythology, Hades was Zeus's brother, and actually he was a good guy. He was the one who helped the dead to move on to the next, into the underworld with him. He was married to Persephone. He did not kidnap her. They were very much in love, and Hades was a good guy. But in this film, he is a bad guy, as he is perceived in quite a few things. And he has been told a prophecy from, I believe it's oh God, what are they called? The Fates. The Fates have told him that he will lose power. No, he can take down Zeus in 18 years by releasing the Titans, but he can only do that if Hercules is dead, because Hercules will defeat the Titans. So he has these two little guys, Pain and Panic, I can't remember what they're known as, but he basically, when Hercules is a baby, he sends them to kill him. Hercules, being the son of a god, two gods in this case, needs to become human because he is immortal, so they wouldn't be able to kill him unless he's immortal. So they go find him, give him a potion. He doesn't drink every drop of the potion, but nearly every one. And then, I don't know what happens, managed to fight them off, but he ends up on Earth. This is the synopsis, by the way. On Earth, and is adopted by a human family. But because that small amount of him that is still a god, is still the child of a god, he has super strength, which is whole Hercules thing. And then obviously he meets Megara, known as Meg, at some point. She is actually kind of working for Hercules. And if he wants to get back to Mount Olympus and be a full god, he has to become a hero. So basically he goes through basically all the, I would assume, the 12 labours of Hercules. Again, I haven't seen the film. But Zeus still says him that's not enough to be heroic. And the way he becomes heroic is when Hades basically kills Megara and sends her into the River of Souls. Hercules sacrifices himself to save Meg, and by that sacrifice alone gets his god powers back, making him immortal. He saved Meg. He is now immortal, and I think Hades ends up in the River of Lost Souls or something like that. So that's Hercules. Again, I haven't seen this film in 25 years, since I was a teenager. I remember quite liking it. The thing I wasn't so keen on, I didn't really like the muses, and I hate to say that. I don't like the style of music for the muses and their songs. I'm not really into gospel, and that's no shade on, you know, gospel music. It's great. I understand the point of it. You know, it's a very praising the Lord. You know, it's a very positive, uplifting, spiritual style of music, and I love that. It's just personally not for me. And the fact the music in the film, a lot of it was gospel, I did struggle with, and I think that's why I never really watched the film again. But obviously the film, the song I Can Go the Distance is a classic Disney film, and it's used in fireworks displays at the Disney parks and stuff like that, and I do think it's a genuinely beautiful song. So I do like I Can Go the Distance. I'm not keen on the one that Meg sings, the I Won't Say I'm in Love. I think that's what it's called. Zero to Hero I was never really into. But generally, the film sounds great, really uplifting, really fun. Obviously some darker themes with the fact that, you know, it's obviously God of the underworld, it's a bit miserable, and death and stuff like that. But from the synopsis, I really want to watch this film again, so I'm going to watch the film again. I appreciate this video isn't going to be as good as some of the other ones, so sorry about that. I would love to hear your thoughts on Hunchback of Notre Dame and Hercules, and if you think they should be higher up in the tier list. Obviously, don't know where Hercules is going yet, but I'm going to put it now. Because I love Greek mythology in general, and I love I Can Go the Distance, and I do like the characters of Hercules and Meg, it's going in at B. Because I think if I was to watch it again, I would definitely put it in at B. Whereas I seem to recall Hunchback of Notre Dame was a lot more bleak, and I'm not sure if I'd want to put a film so bleak in at C. So at B. So I put Hercules in at B, Hunchback at C, and then the other four we shall see in the next video. Now, I'm very familiar with 3 of the next films. I've got to have another little read up on Bug's Life. However, I did love that film, and there is one particular line that I have used countless times in my life, particularly when my children were young and I was reading a particular book, The Little Children. You read to little children when they're little. And I'm sure you'll figure that out when I go into it, but a particular line that I think is used a lot from Bug's Life. But that will be the next video, which I'm filming immediately after this, because as I said, I'm going on holiday tomorrow and I won't be back until very late Tuesday. So if I want to get videos up for you tomorrow, so tonight and Monday, got to get them done now. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you either did or didn't agree with me, or your thoughts, full stop, on anything I've put in this video, please make sure to comment underneath. I love reading your comments. In fact, before I film the next video, I'm going to go in and respond to comments, because I haven't done that in a few days. And, you know, I love the fact that people comment and give really in-depth comments as well. It's great. And I love to hear your thoughts and stuff, like we'll read your thoughts. Nothing in at the A tier at the moment, which is interesting. Am I going to want to put one of these films in the A tier? You will have to see. But in the meantime, please make sure to like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.